I had the pleasure of watching some kind of program about a week ago, and on that program they were honoring Tom Joyner. And as all of us know, he's in the process of retiring. And they said, Tom said, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? What are you going to concentrate on? What's important to you? And he said, HBCUs. HBCUs. Historically black colleges and universities. And not only does Tom Joyner see the benefit in that, but Alex Habersham and the call to action also see that benefit. So I thought that it would be very, very important that if Tom Joyner can do it, I can do it too. And there's no better way to do it than to interview the illustrious president of the Fort Valley State University. And I think that we can kind of explain what drives Tom to want to help and assist HBCUs. So I have with me Dr. Paul Jones, President Jones of Fort Valley State University. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity to interview you on something that's close to my heart. But let's start a little bit by, first of all, I guess I ought to announce the name of the show. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, interviewing Dr. Jones. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you for being here today. And it's been 4 years, and so it's wonderful to reconnect and get caught up on what's happening here in the Valley. But I'm in my 4th year here now at the university. I've spent just under 17 years in the university system of Georgia now. This is the 3rd institution that I've been able to serve at. Of course, many know that I came from Albany, where I was at Dartmouth State College for 2.5 years. But it's exciting to be here and to be in this environment. My wife, Sylvia, we have 2 children. She is serving the campus and the community very well, although she works full time. But we are just pleased to be not only at Fort Valley, but to be in Middle Georgia as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're glad you're here because I know you're not just sitting here at Fort Valley and reading your resume. I understand, and we won't talk about all of them, but I understand that you serve on several boards throughout Central Georgia, and I appreciate you for doing that. You know, I mean, I was already basically familiar with Fort Valley, big Fort Valley State, because at one point I had a record shop. You didn't know that, did you?
No, I did not.
In downtown Fort Valley, Habersham Music Center. Additionally, you know, I was the Western Union agent for Fort Valley, on 107 Main Street, back in the dark ages when I was a younger man. But the truth of the matter is, in trying to recap and review where the university is at this point, how much it has grown, and, you know, all the tentacles, you know, people don't realize. That's why it's so important that the community understands the role that this university is playing in the state, in the community, in the nation, and how important it is for people to realize that, you know, this ain't no bump on the log. This is a dynamic institution, and I just happen to notice that you got some kind of honor, you know, it's being named one of the top presidents of HBCU in the country. What?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was HBCU campaign. It was the top 10 most dominant president. I don't know quite what it means, but
congratulations.
It is an honor for the institution, I think.
Yeah. It very definitely is. The other thing that's extreme, and I want you all to hear this, I want you to understand it, and I want you to absorb it. Because this institution and other HBCUs, see, Tom Jones is a smart man. And like he understands the role of HBCUs, and it's incumbent upon us too, not only to understand the role, but to support them. For example, let's talk about veterinarians. You know, we got a very, very popular veterinarian, you know, in Central Georgia, been on national television and what have you. Guess what? Dr. Bernard Hodges went to the Fort Valley State University. So, I mean, that's just one example, of how significant this university is and the role that it plays in creating successful professionals. But talk about some of the other programs, some of the other accolades that the university has.
Right. You know, so Alex, again, I appreciate this. Our veterinary program is, we have a veterinary technology program, which is one of a kind. It's the only one, a baccalaureate program in Georgia. But it's one of those programs that is growing. It attracts students from throughout the country, really. It's a great opportunity for students who are interested in the field. Not all of our students go on to become veterinarians, but we do have a wonderful partnership with University of Georgia, where they do their rotation with University of Georgia Veterinary College, and we have students that may come into animal science or any one of our other STEM programs and go on to serve in that area. But we have a number of programs that I think have really moved this institution to extraordinary levels. Many around the country are, in fact, are well aware of the work that we've done with the cooperative energy development program that we have here under the leadership of Dr. Isaac Crumley, who
I can still hear.
Ike is still here, 54 years later.
Still doing it.
They're doing amazing work in helping students who are interested in going into the energy industry. So the partnership that we have with institutions throughout the country, including Georgia Tech, University of Texas, Penn State, now University of Alabama, Arkansas, UNLV, and many others. These partnerships also are with industry, whether it's ExxonMobil, Shell, and these students, they come here, they graduate in 3 years, typically with mathematics degrees. They go on to serve in these other institutions and get engineering degrees or in other fields, and they go on to do great things. We're very excited about the work in that program. But we've been around since 1895, and I think we are one of those sort of best kept secrets.
Yeah.
However, that secret's got to get out now. It's important for us to do a much better job in telling our story, telling the individuals in the community about the work we're doing. We're partnering throughout our state. We're in well over 35 counties throughout the state of Georgia, doing incredible work through our extension programs, but we just haven't done a great job. We have more than $135 million economic impact in the state.
Wow.
And we're going to work harder at doing a better job. We've created some new opportunities we think which will strengthen our relationships in Middle Georgia and the state, particularly with our new economic development individual who is going to be working very closely, helping us to understand the needs. When I think about Fort Valley State we sit in a rural area, but we also serve an area that does have some challenges. And I believe as an institution of higher learning and as a land-grant institution, we need to better connect to our region and help to solve many of those challenges that are out there. And we're doing some of that work. If you look at the research that research portfolio, a school of only 2,700 students, but has well over $35 million that it brings in from sponsored research, federal grants, and all of those resources are connecting and helping to solve problems, and more importantly, our students are beneficiaries
Right,
from
right.
that work. And doing undergraduate research, that's an area that's exploding here in terms of the work that our undergraduates are getting these amazing opportunities and presenting throughout the country now, Alex. The great work they're doing. So, you know, there's an endless number of stories that we can tell, and more importantly, need to tell. Because I think it's important.
It might be endless, but we're not going to end it because we're going to talk some about your agricultural program. And let me just pause. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Savage. I'm interviewing Dr. Paul Jones, president of the Fort Valley State University. And his goal and my goal is to familiarize the community. We want the community to become more familiar with all of the good things. You know, oftentimes, you know, there's an old saying that a lie travels around the world while the truth is putting its boots on. Well, we want to try to reverse that information as it relates to the Fort Valley State University. And then we're going to solicit and encourage you, you know, to support the university, to become familiar with it, to spread the word, to let students know that there are all kinds of resources available, all kinds of programs available. And then we're going to talk after a while, after he talks about agriculture, about admission and how students can get into it, what kind of assistance is available for students. But first of all, let's just talk briefly about the agricultural program here at Fort Valley.
Right. Well, I tell you, that's one of the hallmarks here. That's one of our, what I call pillars of distinction here. We lead certainly the state in the number of African Americans that are graduating in the field with baccalaureate degrees in agriculture, but number 6, I believe, now in the country. So we're doing some great work, and what people don't realize, oftentimes they think, when they think of agriculture, they think of someone sitting on a tractor, and that's what we are doing. Well, there is a little bit of that. But more importantly, it's many fields. Almost everything that we do touches the agricultural field in some way, whether what we eat, what we wear, etc. But let me tell you, I think that there's never been a better time, I think, to explore fields, this field right now. One, because we have great programs. And many of those programs are nationally recognized. But number 2, the opportunities from a scholarship standpoint have never been better. You know, Congressman Bishop, who is the ranking member on the Agricultural Committee, he and many others did something that is historic. And that is they set aside a specific scholarship for 1890 land-grant institutions, which we are a beneficiary of. And this is going to allow students who are interested in exploring this field.
Wow.
We will get nearly $700,000 a year.
Scholarship?
Yes, $700,000. Wow. So in terms of students throughout this country who are interested in exploring these fields, the opportunities are there. And we've never been in a position to do that. And, you know, there's such a huge gap. You know, many of many people in these fields are retiring, and so there's a huge demand. And part of what this effort is about is helping to ensure that the field, number 1, is diverse, but also that we are filling those gaps that are needed. In Fort Valley State, I'm really excited. You know, we are involved in a lot of the various commodities, but we're getting more involved in other commodities that are agricultural commodities in our state. So example, we are interested now in doing more research and work in the peanut area, something that we've not done in the past. And we are exploring other areas, whether it's poultry and other fields, because again, there's such a need. University of Georgia obviously does a great work. ABAC is doing work in this area, but we're needed. and we're needed desperately, and I believe that's why the support's there. So never a better time, because not only great programs, but the resources are there as well. So this is brand new. We are starting the advertisement now for those scholarships, and we're looking for students who are hungry and passionate about these fields. And they can be in a wide variety of areas.
Yeah, and speaking of students, now there are a lot of ways for students to become involved in the college, with the college, because a lot of people, I mean, I didn't realize the extent of your online program. I think I read where you were one of the, if not the only one, that offers an online degree in rehabilitation counseling.
Yes.
You know, and that's absolutely phenomenal. So talk a little bit about, you know, the online opportunities for students. But now, look, I went to HBCU. I went to Savannah State.
Oh,
you know, and I'm glad I did. You know, because Fort Valley was closer. But anyway, I'm glad I went to HBCU.
That's
you know,
important.
that's what I'm saying. But the truth of the matter is, Doc, there is something to be said, and I'm saying this in response to our talking about online pro. That's good, but there is something to be said about the college on-hand experience. You know what I'm saying? So I think, it's my thinking, that if at all possible, then students need to explore the opportunity to go to a college campus and experience the interaction, the social aspect, the friendship aspect, and all of those different aspects of living on a campus and meeting new people and being an adult and being on your own and getting assistance. So I like that, and I recommend that. But be that as it may, there's still online. If you want to sit home, God forbid, but if you do, you know, then there are online opportunities at the college.
Yeah, you know, that's an area that we are growing. I will say that many of our online programs that we have been nationally ranked, and so we're doing a tremendous job in that area. But what we are noticing is that, particularly in this area, more and more individuals are exploring this option because that is their only way of seeking higher learning. And so we want to make sure
So that means that there's no excuse. I mean, if you can't come to the campus,
that's correct.
that's no excuse that you can't get involved.
Right.
Excuse me for cutting you off, but I wanted to say that because too many, let me tell you something, Doc. I think that excuses come out of trash cans. You know, and then Kobe said that, bless his heart. But one thing he said, he looks at obstacles as opportunities. So if there are obstacles, then, I mean, you can still develop and research and find opportunities, because oftentimes, I'm talking to the young folk now, those whose futures are ahead of them and those who can benefit, you know, from advancing, you know, either technologically or academically or what have you. But the opportunities are out there. And there are many opportunities at Fort Valley State University, and one of which is the online program. Excuse me for cutting you off, but
I think you're making
give those words of encouragement to our young people,
right?
You know, because I feel like they need it.
Well, that message is really important, and I actually appreciate you saying that. I had the opportunity. I was in California this weekend or last week, and that's where many know that I'm born and raised in California, South Central Los Angeles, and certainly come from disadvantaged background and 10 children. I'm the youngest in the family. And so I understand many of the struggles that our students have. But I had this unique opportunity in meeting with several of my nephews while I was there on Friday evening.
With 9 brothers and sisters,
yes,
you got quite a few.
There's a large number. Some of them I'm still meeting. But, you know, during that time, you know, many of them were talking to me, and they were saying, you know, that they were proud of me. They hear the stories, and they wish they had the opportunities. And I had to sort of stop them because first of all, I wanted them to know is I'm the same guy. I'm the same guy, born and raised like you. But what I said that I have seen, not only with them, but with other youth, is that this sort of their unwillingness to work for it. Also, many of them are settling for mediocrity. And what I shared with them was that they too can pursue their dreams, but they have to be willing to do that, be courageous. Also, it's important for them to understand the people in their circle do matter, and that if they want to begin to make the right choices, surround themselves, as my parents used to say, surround yourselves with the right people. And I said, there's really no mystery. I said, the opportunities are there. You just need to take that step forward. And that's where I believe a place like Fort Valley State is so important, because we spent 125 years of serving the underserved. 80% of our students receive Pell Grant, which would suggest that they are the neediest students in our society.
Yes, sir.
And yet we take that same student who may be underserved, but it says nothing about their intellectual capacity. And we help them, we nurture, we support them, and they go on to do amazing things.
Great things.
We need institutions like Fort Valley State.
Yes, sir.
More than any other time, I
Yes,
believe,
sir.
in our
Yes,
country.
sir. Yes. You know, I'm glad you said that. So talk a little bit, if you would. But this is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, interviewing the president of Dean Fort Valley State University, Dr. Paul Jones. Talk a little bit, if you would, Doc, about, you know, to that student out there, or that mom or aunt or dad out there who also has a nephew or a daughter or a son that they want to try to advise them of how to seize certain available opportunities. And since Fort Valley State is one, talk to them about what it takes, you know, to at least begin the process, to learn more, to apply, to become familiar with all of the programs here at the university.
Well, certainly, you know, I would say to our youth today that you can learn a lot about our institution, but you can't learn just by simply sitting at home. You know, certainly, I certainly embrace technology. Sometimes the things we're doing on technology are not furthering their education or furthering, helping them to meet the goals and objectives that they are interested in. But we are here. We're in the schools. We've got to make it cool again to come and meet with us. We aren't the enemy. We are there to support them. Right now, Alex, one of the things I'm really excited about is as we're preparing for fall, we've been doing a lot of work over the last few years trying to restructure some things, to put ourselves in a position to be better at serving students.
Yes, sir.
And so this year, as we put a lot of things in place, we are excited that next fall we hope will be our single largest freshman class. We are double the applications that we had a year ago, or even 4 years ago. The admitted students are increasing. And what's happening, I think, is that we're doing a better job of reaching them where they are. So we can't just sit here and look for them, but we need to be in their communities. We put a regional recruiter that's based full-time in the Atlanta area, which is obviously where it's populated, but that also allows our other recruiters to do a much better job of serving the rest of the state of Georgia and our surrounding communities. So when students hear that we're in the neighborhood, when they hear that we're at their school, come out and sit down and visit with us. There's really not a mystery to getting from here to here. We'll help them through that process.
Yes,
and
sir.
so we're there for them.
Well, the university plays such an important role. Talk about a little bit about how the community and individuals. I know about your foundation. you know, the community and individuals can learn more. But, you know, before you talk about that, if you would, tell the students what they need to do. They can just call, or what needs to happen if
You know,
they're interested.
yes, if they're interested, either contact their counselors in their school, contact our admissions officers. They can certainly look us up on the web, fbsu.edu, and then or /admissions, or go to the home page. You can get to the admissions from there. Come visit us. Come out. There's no better way. Sometimes, I tell you, the majority of the students that visit our campus and families, they're shocked when they get here.
Yes, sir.
Because they have sometimes a perception about Fort Valley
Yes,
State.
sir.
When they get here, they realize it's a modern
Yeah.
facility
Yeah.
with some of the best. I was just looking at some rankings that were done at the national level, and in the state it had us ranked as having the 6th best dorms in
Wow.
the state of Georgia.
Wow.
And these are
And you were the best HBCU, voted
The number one
in Georgia.
public HBC
Yeah,
2
yeah.
years in a row.
Yeah, yeah.
So we need them to come visit us.
Yes, sir.
And we do tours pretty
Yes,
much
sir.
every day,
Yes, sir.
with the exception of Sundays.
Okay, we're running out of time, but I want you to at least give you an opportunity to solicit, you know, not only support from, you know, foundations and rich folk, but support from the community.
Well, you know, certainly we believe our community is vital to our sustainability, vital to our future in general. We are doing, I think, a better job of reaching out, becoming partners with our community. It's really important. As I said earlier, we're trying to understand better the needs of our community so we can be at the forefront of helping our community to solve problems. We are now connected throughout our region in terms of community service. Our students are required to give back.
Yes, sir.
And through our Center for Student Engagement, which
Yes,
you
sir.
are well aware of.
Yes, sir.
It's important. That's one of the cornerstones of our program. And so our community, we ask them to get to know us better. We are not just a school for African American students, but we are your
Yes.
university.
Yes, sir.
And so we're here to serve, and we're here for the future.
This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, having interviewed Dr. Paul Jones, the president of the Fort Valley State University. And as he said, you can go to the website to learn more, and there are all kind of resources waiting on you to give you more information about this fine institution. Tell somebody. You know, if it is to be, there's an old saying that it's up to me. But these young people need your support, and then I think they'll be pleased to know that one of the resources available to them is the Fort Valley State University. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our story begins more than 60 years ago inside an abandoned chicken coop where our founder discovered a retired teacher living. No home, no health care. So she said no to this injustice and yes to transforming lives. It's this drive, this compassion that inspired AARP. Today, we empower people to choose how they live as they age. We advocate for health and financial security. We strengthen communities everywhere. We are AARP Georgia, creating real possibilities.